All right. What's up, guys? So we have Jordy with us now. Welcome, Jordy.
Hello, hello.
So, well, we have a couple questions for you, Jordy, as you already know.
Yeah.
We're gonna start off with this big question, of course. In January, somewhere around January, you've been starting your own stream.
Yeah.
You've been making your own brand. You've now gained, I think you're at 2.2k or close to 2.2k
Yeah. I
subscribers
hit
at the
that, I
moment.
think, yesterday, 2.2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congrats again. Like you've been growing insane. Like you started in January, right? I'm correct with that?
Yeah, like December 27th or something. I started streaming, yeah.
Yeah. And like I assume it's because of like COVID lockdown and you didn't have an
I did
opportunity
it,
or
because of that, yeah, I was a bit bored, but I think Max recommended doing some stuff, so that's, I think I did a couple streams of him and then I just didn't stop, really.
yeah. It was the best moment really for you to go full into because I remember one of your first streams and then like a week later or 2 weeks later you had like double the subscribers already. Uh
Uh,
like you were doing
it is
bits.
Yeah, it is good. Obviously, the growth is helps, but at the time, you've got to enjoy it basically from the
Yeah.
start, which I was. I mean, now it's getting a little harder because the game's getting a bit stale. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it gets harder each day because just the game really, basically.
Yeah, I mean, your streams are still going strong, really. Like, every time you stream a match, it's around 50, 60 viewers, I think. Like, every time I hop in for a bit, it's around those numbers. So, I mean, it's one of the better, like, I don't think you'll see much higher view counts than yours, actually. Unlike,
Yeah, I think it's
like a player stream, you know?
just max really. I think that's about it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, Max is different gravy, as you guys say, you know. We'll get we'll get to Max in a second. But yeah, next to streaming, you're also went into like sort of content creation. So you've made some extra videos regarding maybe even montages. You've created montages for yourself. You've created montages for other people as well, or work together with them.
yeah,
For example, with Catalyst, Jimmy, Saint. Am I missing a few?
I did one for yes. I've done one for Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
I think I done one for two for Jimmy. I did one for Big Ryan.
Oh yeah, yeah, Ryan.
I did one for Max, one for Saint, one for Jobs, and one for Marquitos.
Oh yeah,
So
Marquitos. And
yeah.
and what got you into like doing those frag movies for them? Is it just out of personal interest of
Um,
making more videos or?
I started with like doing my own,
Mm-hmm.
because the general quality of competitive frag movies is not really that high in terms of actual
No.
editing and like a flow and everything. Like, I'm not talking about like fancy stuff, obviously. I still can't do that, but in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like general flow and like easiness to watch, I thought, I'd have a go at trying to make one on an actual like editing software and not Share Factory. So, I messed around maybe like a month or two just making like random stuff, and then I had like a proper go. I can't remember what my actual first one was, but I probably messed around with like an editing software for like a month or two, just
Which one
messing
do
with
you
transition.
use? Which one?
I use two at the moment. I'm trying to switch over.
Okay.
I started with one called Hit Film Express.
Never heard of it,
And
to be
then
honest.
I'm going on to DaVinci Resolve now. I don't know if you've heard of
Oh,
that.
yeah, I've heard of. I've never used it, but I've heard of it. Like on BF1, I kind of had the same thing. Like all these frag movies are literally just like clips put in order and then just music over it. Um,
Yeah.
I never did video editing before, and like that was kind of like my deep dive into the video editing. I was looking up a lot of like tutorials and stuff to try and make it better, but it didn't really turn out too much, so I just stopped doing it. But I think it's the same. Like there's you want to add more value to your frag movie
Yeah,
to also stand out
basically, yeah.
in the scene, and of course it also helps that you're one of the top five, maybe top two players on the scene at this moment. So it only makes it better for people to watch, of course. Yeah. So next to those montages, you've also started creating like these how to play for like the I wouldn't say the public community, because I think you also help some of the competitive community, like the tips and tricks on for example, the ice
Ye-
skating video.
Yeah, I've got. I think for ones that were useful for a general comp, I've probably got maybe one and a half.
Mhm.
I'm trying to make another one now, to do with another movement thing, but I'm being lazy, so I've not got to it yet.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you also putting out like the how to aim. What was the exact name? Like
Yeah, I
aiming.
did like some in-game aim training stuff. So I can't even get my words right. Some aim training stuff that you can do like in-game that help a little bit. Besides obviously just playing the game a lot. It's just stuff that like gets you onto that like next pedestal kind of thing.
Yeah. And yeah, like my last question before I'm going to let someone else take the lead. Would you recommend like other people to do the same as you? Because like before you, there wasn't really many people like actually taking it serious, like you guys. Like
Yeah.
you had, like right now, I would say it's mostly PLG still. Like you have Saint, who is also doing pretty well actually, and then you of course have Jimmy, which was one of the earlier guys that was doing like content
Yeah.
creation next to like streaming, and of course now you have Max, which is another big thing. But like, would you say like it should be something that the rest of the community is also or should do? Um,
For streaming like comp scrims and stuff, if you have the internet to be able to do it, I'd say yeah, everyone should do it really, because it's good because you can generally watch back your own stream with your teammates, or see if you make any mistakes, or you can watch back other teams' streams to see how well you did from their perspective. So
Mhm.
it's in terms of comp, that is quite good for streaming. In terms of public, it is a grind because it can get like it does get boring sometimes, and it
Yeah.
does get annoying. So it can get frustrating for that. And maybe the next Battlefield, if pubs are a bit more enjoyable, you might see a few more people like doing those longer streams. But for competitive, if you have the internet for it and the ability and capacity to do it, then yeah, try stream as many scrims as you can. It helps you and other. I know it helps other teams, but it helps you, I would say, more than other
Yeah.
teams.
I think that's the biggest thing as well. Why I streamed a lot of my games on BF1 only for the sole reason to rewatch it and see what I could do better. And I think that's definitely something a lot of teams should do, because
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it as well in one of your streams. Like there's no one else streaming.
No, that's
It,
not.
it's only you, like it's only PLG, and of course PLG is the dominant team. Like they have nothing to hide. But I think for other teams, it's also like, do I want to stream like my point of view? Because then of course, the strategies, like the strategies tactics, are able, like the other teams are able
Yeah.
to study them. It's,
Yeah, I was gonna say the most streams I see are either like, apart from mine, would be another PLG. I think the Z guy does a few
mhm.
on like a consistent basis, and then the other ones are just Lycan's casting and Wild and stuff like that. I've not
Yeah.
seen many like player POVs actually streaming stuff, unless I'm not finding links or anything.
No, I know from Redux, Ziggy has been streaming quite some matches, but there's no one else that's really been like that I can say off the top of my head that has been doing that. Of course, except for the PLG guys. So yeah. Um, and what are some other improvements that you would say that have to be done in the scene regarding content creation, maybe even being out there in like the social media platforms and all that? What like are some tips or things that you would say that have to change for other teams?
Oh, that's a hard.
That's a hard
Yeah,
question, I
in
know.
terms of like content creation, I'd say streaming games helps because it gives an outreach to people that don't know comp exists.
Hmm.
Like, so they may stumble across your stream and be like, "What's this? What's this?" Like, might get an extra few people that way. If people have the opportunity, maybe frag movies could improve a little bit on editing, but I know that's hard because not everyone has like a laptop that or a PC that can run an editing software. So that's kind of like like a higher end kind of one,
Hmm.
just so it brings some more quality. But other than that, it's really not that much
Yeah.
at the moment, I would say, in terms of like something personal that you can do.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like because in my opinion, a big thing that we're lacking is like the involvement of the Battlefield scene on like social media platforms like Twitter, like Instagram, maybe even like a TikTok and games like that. And I think that's like kind of what I was aiming at. Like, would you say it
Oh,
might be good for players to go that route and try and like right now it's like YouTube and Discord are the main platforms for Battlefield, but I think going forward we should actually like perhaps like reach out more on like all these other platforms that we currently are not using. Like, would you
the
say?
only the only one I could maybe say you're using is maybe TikTok,
Yeah,
but that's more for building like I would say like a personal. That's
yeah,
something that's
personal
like
brand. Yeah,
something I'd need to branch out, and that's something like building like your
Yeah.
personal like brand kind of thing.
yeah. Okay.
But I guess if you build that personal brand, you can try convert some of them into a comp scene. But I feel like it'd be a bit difficult if they're coming off TikTok.
Yeah,
Because I suppose that's kind of like the next best thing with at the moment doing a lot of the comp stuff. You do like a mix of your pubs and scrims, like either warming up for games or
Yeah.
the firestorm and stuff like that with your mates, kind of just chilling with the rest of the guys from PLG, and then you stream the actual games as well. Like, do you is there a distinction between things like this stream I'm doing now is for myself, for my own personal brand, and or is this stream I'm doing now for PLGs and the team? Like, is there a distinction between
I
yourself, or
I
is it
wouldn't
just one
say
big thing?
no. I'd say it's more one big thing. Like
Yeah.
so my stream schedule. I originally streamed in the mornings, and obviously I work. I start work at 5 a.m. So
Hmm.
I used to stream after work, and it used to just it was too hard. I just get frustrated quicker because you're tired. So now I come home, have a little sleep, and then try wake up, around a reasonable time, not sleep for like 6 hours during the day. And then I stream after that. So I try work to the stream schedule at the start, like maybe a couple of hours before a scrim, so it's like a warm up, and then
Yeah.
hopefully people will watch the pops and transition into the comp, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I generally hope for. So I think a few people do click off when it goes to a comp match. Some people do stay, which is quite nice. I know a lot of people that do like the comp stuff, so I'm always going to keep the videos, half and half if it's popular, basically.
Yeah, and also having a schedule is key to building your audience and also building some sort of almost like a bond with your viewers because they know when you're about to stream. So
Yeah.
just keeping that schedule nice and nice and consistent. And then also by doing so, you then have a bit more outreach, so you can start grabbing more players, and especially with the new Battlefield on its way, the hype has actually climbed quite a bit as well. I've seen
Yeah.
streamers on Twitch that have gone for around about 50 viewers average per stream, and they're now in the going up to 200s to 300s.
Yeah, it's
example,
like my YouTube in terms of actual views, it's gone up. Average daily views, it's gone from around 1,000 to 3,000 since the game went free. So it's gone up 3 times the amount of streams. I think I just streamed just before this for a couple of hours. I think I had maybe an average of, I would say, 40 viewers, which for me was quite good in terms of like a small 2-hour stream kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if I average normal, I think before that I was averaging pubs anywhere from 15 to 25, but at certain points now I'm getting up to around 40. So I don't know if that's something that's built because I'm getting more subscribers or if that's because the game's free. So
I
we'll
mean, I
find out
guess
in,
it's a
I guess, a month.
combination of both, really.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess
but
people stick around because of you and like of course your gameplay. And yeah, I mean, I think you're doing a great job at at that side of things. So.
yeah, you also got the combination of because the next Battlefield game is on its way, and also we've already had, a estimated soon date for the trailer, so the hype's built up. So people are actually actively looking for who's streaming now,
Yeah.
and who they're going to be watching going into the next Battlefield. So that's where you're probably seeing a big growth as well. The fact that people are more actively looking for who's streaming Battlefield, because then they want to watch those players continue the stream into the next Battlefield to get those tips. Because maybe you've got a guy that's used to playing Battlefield 1 and then went to Battlefield 5 and didn't like it, so stopped playing Battlefield altogether and just went to Call of Duty. But now, with all the rumors out being the next Battlefield is going to be modern, people might just be jumping into other Battlefield streams to Battlefield 5, knowing a fact that they're going to be jumping into Battlefield 6 or Battlefield, whatever it's called, and getting quite a good insight into what that game is going to be like through, for example, you, Jordy, or Maxeek, or Enders, Energized Night, etc., etc. So, yeah, I mean, it's all good for growth, and it's all, it's really good. It's really good. And yeah, Jordy, going from what you said, 1,000 up to 3,000.
Yeah, the average daily like YouTube views. Yeah, my
just...
actual stream viewership, I think, has gone up maybe 10, 15 viewers, which is probably double. So
yeah,
you reckon the viewers up just as much as you reckon those season wins up at this point, aren't you?
That's kind of true, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like on that point, obviously, like you personally with like the content and stuff, you're absolutely smashing it. It's definitely something that I just can't do. It's I'm absolutely washed at the game, and the effort involved in actually creating those montages and doing the content and
even
up, it's a huge thing,
Even like the most simple like frag movie can sometimes it takes a while just finding like a placement of a clip or finding a song that suits the clips really.
Yeah.
That I'd say majority I spend half the time looking for a song that fits the clips.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what do you do first? I remember this was for me also a big issue. Do you post the clips first and then search for like a sound that kind of fits the clips, or do you have music and then fit your clips to the sound?
I do a bit of both. If I find a song that I like, I'll try work it. I maybe edit maybe like a minute, the first minute of the montage, and then I'll watch it back. Sometimes I go, oh yeah, this is good. Sometimes I go, yeah, this is not, and then I delete it. So
yeah,
that's where I spend. I'd say most of the time you do waste a lot of time editing, but it's worth it in the end. Otherwise, you're gonna make it like a 3-minute video that you're just not happy with. Which, to be honest, if you're not happy with what you're uploading, there's literally no point.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot with just editing, trying out. As for trying out, let's head into the next topic, because we've been talking about like your personal brand a lot. Right now, so we're going to head in like the ESB kind of questions for the finals. My first question to you is, well, you were part of the first testers of the T4 rush mode, really.
Yeah.
What was your initial opinion on the mode? Would you think it's a good mode? Would you think it was better than T5, or what were your thoughts at the moment?
Yeah, initially, I liked it a lot at the start, to be honest, as well. Probably more than T5. It was more the balancing that took us a while to actually get right in terms of classes and guns and gadgets and everything like that. That was probably the thing that took us, and also maps as well. We did spend quite a bit of time at the start on actually figuring out what maps were good.
Yeah.
So the actual mode itself, I always thought was probably going to be better. It's just, figuring out that, that A-B plant combination and the guns and gadgets and all that stuff was probably the stuff that was the most difficult, and we were unsure about if people would, take a liking to it. So that was probably the thing I would say personally I was more worried about.
Yeah, I can understand. Like the first time we played it, I think it was like 1st of January, like one of the first weeks of January when the first test event was. And like I think a lot of people were also very intrigued by the trailer, of course, the trailer of those test events that you guys did. It just made that all the more like exciting to play in it. And the mode itself, yeah, my personal opinion is also like it's more strategy based. T5 is not that competitive. I think T4 was definitely the way to go for like the best competitive mode for ESB in that sense.
It's also easier to watch, I think, as well, as a viewer that's not used to competitive Battlefield. Like, I don't know if Wild or Lycan have noticed that in chats or anything, but I've always felt it was always just easier to follow. Even
mean-
as I would say a caster was easier to follow, I'd say.
Yeah, I prefer casting it so much more than any other of the modes that I've casted. Honestly, it's clear what the teams have to do. One team's attacking, one team's defending, and there you go. Like, you have X amount of lives, X amount of time. When it comes to like the squad conquest, which is domination with extra steps, really, you're just running around in a circle. And like recently, at least for myself, it's been super hard to cast that stuff for like the squad conquest and things like that. T4 has just been absolutely mint to cast and everything. It feels good, the pace is good. A game can be done in like every map can take about 10 minutes, like 10-15 minutes, depending on the teams playing. So your casts are like way below an hour. I think it's better for the teams as well, right, Jordy? Like, you're not sat there for 2.5 hours playing a squad conquest game, right?
Yeah, squad conquest. It depends. Yeah, if you have a close game, it can take, like devastation, for example. It can take like an hour just to do devastation on
Yeah.
squad conquest if it's close. Where rush, if you have a close game, it can generally take. It can also take just as much time, but I feel like you're more involved in the actual game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You tend to stay more focused, I would say. Where squad conquest, it's more like, when is this gonna end, kind of thing. Like.
Yeah, no, I feel that completely.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Wait,
Oh, sorry. You can.
yeah, I
question.
wanted to ask Jordy, because I haven't managed to get a straight answer out of Codename yet. The player, like the role changes right before the season to the 1-1-1-1.
Yeah.
Like, was that something that was just kind of, let's try it out and just see if it works, or was that something that was just 100% needed to make the whole T4 work in general?
I think I remember we talked about it in the
council.
rush testing in the rush, no, like in the actual rush test that we did like months and months and months ago.
Yeah.
And at the time we didn't really like it because we didn't really want to force people this late into a game to play sniper, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we gave them the option of playing an extra assault. And then it was discussed in the council before the season if people wanted that 1-1-1 role, because we felt people were, for example, on attacking, they wanted just a really hard aggressive push. So they just go 2 assaults, a medic and a support, and they just throw themselves at the defenders. So I think the council agreed that was probably a bit too overpowered for an attacking team, where as defenders you were kind of forced to play your recon, otherwise you all die, that's it, your bomb's gone. Whereas attacking, you all die, you just spawn in base again and go again with, like an extra assault. So I think it was more generally agreed in council, people would prefer it if people were forced, so it was even then. Well, as even as it could be on classes, at least.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
it worked out brilliant in the end, though, because we get to see players like Berger, Maxi absolutely slapping kids around for a whole season, which is pretty mint to see.
Kind of true. Yeah, I remember talking about this in the council just before the season started. And at first I was like, I don't see the point of forcing, but like when we went through the season, it was much better. Like the whole setup was much better just to have everyone play a single role. So yeah, I think it was the best decision at the time. Let's head right into the next question. As we're moving on, what were your thoughts on the partners that were involved with the ESB League?
At the start, obviously I'm community manager, but I don't get the insider details of what Deuce and the other admins of ESB, the insider details and all that workings out and stuff. So my first reaction was I was generally surprised that they got people as big as, I would say, like Samsung and MSI and stuff like that. And Gamers Apparel. The Samsung one really, and MSI really threw me because I thought, you don't really get much bigger. You can get bigger, but I wouldn't say you can't get much bigger in terms of Battlefield for Samsung and MSI. So I was generally surprised at the start.
Yeah, we
I
kind of
think we all were.
discussed this earlier as well, like our thoughts on it. And yeah, like the Samsung and MSI, you cannot really get bigger than that. Like what were you saying? Sorry, for before I interrupted you.
Oh no, I just went
Ah, yeah,
Tasty.
yeah.
yeah. Like those sponsors, we said as well. Like it's insane that they got those at this stage of the game, and it just shows like for the future, like future Battlefield, what they can do. So yeah. Now heading into like the actual season, we want to touch the PLG dominance. Of course, I don't think there's any other word to describe PLG this season. Mike, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys dominated throughout the whole thing. I think throughout the whole regular season, including the playoffs, you lost like a map and a half worth of sectors, 7 sectors overall in the regular season, plus like 1 or 2 in the playoffs. Like I think we spoke about it before in like other chats and stuff. Like what's the mentality to get a team to that level where you just smash it every single game? Because PLG weren't always the best, right?
Not on BF1. I think at the start of the BF5, I think they had quite a few new players. I think like Saint at the time was, I think Saint started competitive in November 2019.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's not been doing it for that long compared to someone like me, for example. So I think at the start of BF5 they had quite a few new players. So like Alpha as well. I think he started 2019, 2020 for comp, so he's generally quite new as well. Robson, also he did play BF4, but he missed out on BF1, so he's kind of like, I would say, a new person for comp again. So I think people have just generally got maybe more confidence and a bit more comfortable as BF5's gone on, so that's kind of helped the team morale as well.
Yeah. But it's like I think in one of your interview videos, like you guys mentioned that no matter what the team is you're playing, no matter what league, no matter what season it is, you treat everything like it's a finals game. Like you have to win it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And is that like obviously like when you see some of the voice comms and stuff, especially in that finals game, it was you guys were just on fire. Like I don't think there's a single negative moment, at least that I've heard from you guys in voice comms. It always seems to be positive. You're always on top of things. Is that something that you guys have had to learn, like as a team?
I would say being
Yeah.
positive, yeah. It's not always been like that. We do have the odd games where we'll play a team that are not as a high level, and we will slack a little bit, but it happens I would say it would happen to every team.
Yeah.
In terms of you get a bit bored every now and then, probably playing a bit too many games.
Yeah.
In terms of being positive in game, I would say that generally has improved a lot, and it tends to go up another level in games that are important, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In games that are just scrims and regular league games, it takes a step back. In terms of generally playoffs and games that we know are a big deal and matter, it tends to go like up another level, I would say.
Yeah. And like obviously you guys being absolutely flawless, absolutely dominant throughout. Like what have been like the keys to the success of the team that maybe other teams and people who are looking to lead teams in the future, like for their next game, like what are the keys to success to making sure that you have a dominant side in competitive?
I'd say maybe one of the first steps is like chemistry, trying to play I would say even try to play pubs together. That's the first step. You want to be friends with who you're playing with, especially in Battlefield where you're not contracted, you're not paid money to play. So the only reason really to play is friends, really. So I'd say the first bit's chemistry. You want to play with people you enjoy playing with. If you're playing with people that you don't enjoy playing with, then there's not really much of a point. On Battlefield is the main bit. Second bit I would say is figuring out what your mistakes are and going through them together as a team as best as possible. Like, not going at each other's throats, but finding mistakes and offering suggestions, maybe going through the maps. I know we don't do that all the time, but definitely finding mistakes, I would say, is a big thing that you want to try and get under control. I would say they're probably the two most important things. There are a few little other things you can do, but I would say those are the top two.
I mean, I think that's something that Redux, right? You guys leading up to that semi-final and finals for this T4, you were just hammering out the scrims for that whole week beforehand, right? Trying to iron out all those little mistakes and just trying to get everything right.
Yeah, we had like we'll discuss with Frantic like more on this, but there was like we played PLG several times that week just to try and prepare everything. But yeah, like unfortunately, we didn't make it. But I know for a fact that some of the PLG guys, well, they wanted us to win for obvious, like just to make it a bigger story. I don't know, like how like the main PLG team. What was their opinion, Jordy, watching us play Chaos? Like, who would you rather wanted to play, Chaos or RX?
I think some of us probably wanted to play, I would say, Chaos, just for casting and to prove a point, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of us just wanted, I would say, RX to win just so they could meme Chaos, but
Yeah.
it was kind of split between that, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the game was close. I mean, you were watching it live, probably. Like, what were the discussions during the stream? Seeing us, like, of course, the Aras moment, like, that's a big thing. The devastation. Let's just start with devastation. First sector. Nah.
Yeah, I thought as soon as I saw RX lose the sector, I was like, yeah, nah, they're not coming back. Because I just know from a player's perspective, when you lose a last sector with, what was it, like 10? I think they had 0 tickets. They had 0 tickets.
Yeah,
one ticket, 0 tickets.
Yeah, 0
with
tickets
like 10,
after. Yeah.
like 10 seconds. I thought, yeah, nah, you're gonna be pissed. So I thought they're probably gonna lose this map because I know from a playing perspective, you just think, oh god, why? Like,
Yeah.
it just gets it gets to your head quite quickly and stuff like that. So I thought they're probably gonna lose their heads on devastation, which, you know, and the momentum of an attacking team. So
yeah, they just couldn't set up, and that was the biggest issue. Then we head into Aras, of course. Well, they stop it on last sector of Aras. We had again a last second plant by RX on the second to last sector on B. And then we headed into last sector, and well, they got it as well. Did you expect RX to beat Chaos in that moment, or
no? I was surprised when they clutched that
defense?
The second side bomb. I was surprised. The defense, I could see it because that sector is quite hard to attack. That last Aras one. No, but that clutch bomb with like there was like another ticket left, wasn't it? On the second last B bomb near
2 tickets or something again, like something crazy like at the first sector of devastation.
The thing I was surprised about, I don't know who it was. Someone leaked all the way around left on last sector. I don't know who it was, but when I saw that, I was surprised. I was surprised Chaos wasn't watching it. I was like, are they paying attention or? But yeah, that person that leaked left, I think they just snowballed it from there, didn't they? They just planted A, got A, planted B, got B, and won the map. So.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing that I found of a lot of teams casting the T4, especially on a map like Aras. People get so tunnel visioned on that last sector, where they just go, "I have to watch the road in a cornfield," and that's it. Like that, then it seems a trap that I think a team like Chaos can easily make. You got some quite big personalities there, and they're all trying to go for flashy gameplay a lot of the time. And I think it's hard for like those other guys to watch everything, which again played to RX's advantage in the end because again, like I said, things snowballed from there, and it was I think probably my favorite game to cast throughout the whole tournament. Aside from you, Jordy, just going off on the biggest kill streak I've seen in a league game in a long time.
Is that the final one? Or?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some clips on as well on the background.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't think I could cast fast enough for it.
This is of course Aros or Mercury, sorry, your first match. Let's also talk about your map picks because that's a big thing. I remember your last game, which was actually just the weekend before the finals. You played Chaos. You played the same exact maps. You played Mercury and Aras. What made you pick the same maps as that day? Because, well, of course it was so that last match, like the last league match, was just so close. Like what made you decide to pick those maps?
So Mercury was our pick.
Yeah.
The first league game we played against them halfway through the season, they picked Mercury, and I think we smoked them on that. I think they got one sector, was it, or one bomb, something like that. And then the second league game, where we played Mercury, at that point we had Jobs as support and Saint as an assault, and which I don't think worked as well in terms of the positions we have on that map. So going into the final, we switched back to what we had the first time, which was Saint as a support on that right side hill and Jobs in mid, and then I would roam from left to right, to left to right, to left to right, basically. So I would say that's something we fixed.
Yeah, so you were just so confident that you were gonna win those maps. Even
I'd
after...
say for Mercury we were confident, especially defending. I would say we were confident what class we went through our positions and what classes we were gonna do. Mercury, I'd say we were confident. Aras, we scrimmed it a lot with RX because I think that's a map they picked as well, right?
Yeah, that was our main map for both matches.
Yeah, that benefited both of us because I think every scrim we played, I think we played Aras. So
yeah, because
we went through strats on that map.
Like Aras was one of our best maps, and it was one of your worst maps actually, in my opinion. And I think it helped both of us because you improved on Aras and we improved as well. Like it just made both teams better on Aras, and I think like of course we won. I'm not actually sure. We won Aras against Chaos. I don't actually know if we won on Raid Black. I'm actually not sure on that. But yeah, Aras was of course our main map. Makes sense. I expected Chaos to take Aras as well, just for the reason that they drawed or they lost by 6 seconds. Chaos lost by 6 seconds, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
6 seconds.
That's
That's ridiculous.
That's just insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they did. I expected them to pick Aras. I didn't expect you to take Mercury though. That was kind of a surprise pick in my opinion. But yeah, you pulled it off, and I mean, there's not much to say about it. You guys dominated those matches. So
yeah.
Jordy, would you say when you first initially played that final, hitting hard and quick onto Chaos and giving them that almost like draining the morale pretty quickly, do you think that enabled you guys to quickly win the final in that direction? Because I got the impression that, I mean, the whole of PLG just went in like instantly, like there was no chill, especially on Mercury. It was absolutely insane. It was literally like Chaos couldn't even move like a step. You was in the spawn, you were killing them out as they come in from the docking area. Do you think that contributed to their overall loss because they just, you just took the gas out of them basically?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'd like to think so, but we worked on. I think what the difference was for us is we worked on actual opening strats, if that makes sense. Like where we were gonna go at the start from each sector.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helped us in terms of building a momentum. So maybe that threw them off guard because we were like constantly attacking. From my point of view, we didn't really give them an actual break. So I think figuring out what we were going to do and when we were going to do it helped us a lot. So I think that was the difference between the second league game and the final.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna ask you a last question before we head on to Frantic. Last question, of course, what would you like to see next for ESB for Battlefield? As we're moving forward to BF6, what is the main thing that you want to see from them?
For BF6, if it's possible, I mean, the highest you could probably go would be a LAN event again. So that's something I'd like to see. Whether it's possible or not is another question.
Yeah.
I think that depends on like
COVID and all that.
viewership, COVID, player and viewer interest, and there's so many variables going into that. Yeah,
And
so
the
it's like
game itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
if the game's good, if the modes work, if the maps are good, if casters are interested, if players are interested, if just all the teams are there. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. I'd like to see a LAN, but there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, actually organizing it and players that want to join it. And so there's there's probably hundreds of variables that go into whether or not there will actually be one.
I think you're not the only one who's hoping for that. Like honestly.
Yeah.
think
Alright,
we
the
all are.
last
I think
the
we all
last
are.
wish for Battlefield. So now this was kind of like ESB side, and for Battlefield, what are you looking forward to the most, or what are you looking forward to having the most as your last actual question?
Is that in just Battlefield in general?
Yeah, Battlefield in general.
Just a game that's fun again. Like a game that a lot of people enjoy, like something where you can actually play pubs and it's fun.
Yeah.
So that goes into stuff like team balance, good maps, good modes, like private rental, whatever, custom servers where people
Servers.
can host community events or put custom map rotations. It's just those little things that make the game more enjoyable. Like, so if I don't want to play Panzerstorm, I don't have to play it. Or if you
Yeah.
if you want to play Panzerstorm all the time, you can. Like, it's just those little things that help a game last longer, basically.
Yeah, I can totally agree. I mean, Battlefield 5, they kind of dropped the ball. So I'm hoping for BF6. I'm hoping to enjoy the game more. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Jordy, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a bit longer than expected, of course, but I hope you didn't mind.
That's alright. I don't mind, it's fine.
Take care. Yeah, take care of yourself, and have a great evening, man. Thank you very much,
You
and
too.
we'll see you again soon, I hope.
Hey, how's it going, Frantic? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Battlecast. How are you doing today, my dude?
Hello everyone, I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to speak with you and to let everyone listen to me about some interesting stuff, I guess.
Definitely.
Good. So, let us know what happened in that fight for third place. Let us know what the in and outs were with your squad, and how you coped, and what you could have done better, and what mistakes that you actually came across as well.
You mean the game against Raid in playoffs, or in general in the group stage to finish?
Oh no, in the playoffs. So
in the playoffs.
yeah, when you went up against Chaos.
Yeah, so there was a big pressure to win this game, not gonna lie. After like small final against Chaos, we had really good game. There we were playing really long, and unfortunately we lost. We lost in the draw map, third one. We had to win against Raid. Yes, our main goal was to finish second. We thought that it will be really hard to beat PLG, and everyone will agree that that's the fact. We wanted to beat Chaos, unfortunately we couldn't, so we had to win against Raid. And in the group stage, we won first game, then no, we draw the first game, then won second. We wanted to win also in playoffs, but we struggled a lot. We thought that it's gonna be easier for us, but it wasn't. And we won just at the end of last map when I had lucky triple cap, triple kill. I mean, in last seconds. We had 1 minute to defuse, and we wiped the enemy squad, so we were able to hold it to the end. And we were not playing good as a team, to be honest. In game against Chaos, we were playing as a team. We had some mistakes, of course, but against Raid, you had many mistakes on defense, on attack, on almost every sector. We couldn't focus enough because all of our energy was dedicated to the game in semi-final. So against Raid, we were like out of power. Someone
Yeah.
switched off electricity, let's say. So yeah, so we had some problems, but I'm glad that we won. We secured that third place, and yeah, just
So
fun to play.
now, in the captain's interview with Lawrence that we saw during the actual playoffs themselves, there was a lot of talk that during the whole week you was scrimming with PLG. Um, did that really help you in the playoffs when you went up against, for example, Raid and then Chaos and then Raid? And I know that you said you got a little bit burnt out when you was in that Raid game, but you still managed to pull ahead and come in with that victory at third place. But did you feel like from coming from the group stage to the playoffs and performing a lot at a higher standard because you've been scrimming against PLG, do you think that was an accurate saying to the to what happened?
It helped us a lot for sure because in the group stage before playoffs, we were not screaming much, to be honest. And we had some roster problems back then. Sometimes we couldn't get 4 people to play, especially at 6:30 UK time. So we are not screaming a lot. And after that group stage, when you had that week to practice, we are able to play with PLG 2 or 3 games. I don't remember right now. We wanted to play 4, but at the end we couldn't play 1, and that's the best opponent to practice against. Because we couldn't play against Chaos for obvious reasons. Um, Against Raid, to be honest, I don't remember why we didn't play against them. But yeah, PLG is the best opponent to play against, and we could learn how to move better, how to play better, and what to do on the map, just to maybe copy a little movements from PLG to use them against Chaos and then Raid later. But like I said before, and you noticed that too, everything went for a Chaos game, and then against Raid, we had some problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can give you a little insight on the, of course, as I was the guy scheduling the games. I did ask Red Black, but yeah, I got no response, unfortunately. So I did want to practice against them. They apparently didn't want to practice. So, yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
unfortunate.
sad because
Just
they're
unfortunate.
decent too.
Yeah, they were a good practice. Like they would have been a good practice as well, I guess. So it sucks, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can change about that.
Yeah.
And also a nice little quick question: what made you pick up the M2 carbine during the playoffs? And let's be honest, me and Mike were just gobsmacked. Our jaws were on the floor because literally, you went from just entering this game and then all of a sudden there was an M2 carbine out and everybody was dying all around us. It was insane. It was like headshots going into the very first objective on ours, like in the building. You was headshotting someone in there, and then you'd spin around and you'd get like a triple collat, and then you'd go around the corner next to the wall where the spawn beacon was, and then you'd pick up another 2, one climbing the wall by the look, if I remember correctly. And you was just on fire that whole day with the M2 carbine. Have you been practicing that gun quite a bit? I know from personal experience that the M2 is my favorite gun because it's got a very easy recoil control. But what's your thoughts on why you picked the M2 carbine over the very used Sturmgewehr?
So in general, the first time I used M2 was when I saw Jordy playing M2 on T4. He was the one who started first with M2, but then he switched the role, the class, so he wasn't playing a lot. But I saw that this gun has potential, maybe I should use it. And so I started playing with it like for 2-3 weeks. And about the playoffs, at the beginning I was playing with Sturmgewehr, but in my honest opinion, when I was playing against Chaos, it wasn't my best day. So with Sturmgewehr, I had some problems. I was going negative on the first like 2 rounds. And then I took that M2 on Aras, and my KD just jumped to like 2 or 3, and that was crazy. And at the beginning, I was always playing with Sturmgewehr. I changed to M2. I was switching the weapons before the playoffs, and I knew that that's not the best idea to switch the weapons like that. So I wanted to go back and play with Sturmgewehr, but at the end I ended up on Aras with M2, and that was a good choice for the rest of the game. So yeah, I recommend this weapon for everyone because it's really underrated for many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
Jordy may have started it, but honestly, you made it a meta gun. Like, I think a few of the other assault players started switching to it mid rounds as well. Like, even from PLG, we saw it happen. Like in that final game, it was. I think it's a gun that is, like you say, has been slept on
Mm.
for quite a long time, and it has a ton of potential. Um, like with the map, it's something that's popped out of nowhere on the larger scrims, right? Um, it's just crazy, and like the stuff that you managed to pull off with it. And then when that failed, you like what made you switch to the Panzerfaust to clap people every single game? Like, honestly, I absolutely loved it, especially to see it in like some playoffs as well. It was brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just pretty slow player. I'm not that fast like the other players. I'm trying to find unusual solutions in the game. So
And
for
if
example,
it works,
everyone, yeah, if it works, so everyone knows me because I'm lying on the floor somewhere in the corner. Sometimes it's work, then people are angry. Sometimes people are killing me, and then I'm a meme because of that. And it's the same with Panzerfaust. I was a king of that rocket gun in BF1, and now I'm the king of Panzerfaust in BF5. Yeah, so I mean it's working, so it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
quite a few times where we were locked on to the opposite player, and next minute there was just this Panzerfaust literally going into the camera because it would aim for their head, and we were like, "Oh, I suppose he just ate a Panzerfaust." Oh wait, that was Frantic. Of course it was.
yeah.
Literally just ate it. So it was quite a sight to see, especially from me and Mike's point of view. It was just most of the time it was just instantaneous and just a surprise because it would just be firing at someone like almost about to kill someone. Next minute it's just rocket in your face, just out of nowhere, just
Never
surprising.
know when I take the Panzerfaust.
Yeah.
You need to be ready for that.
yeah. But
Alright.
Yes.
I was gonna say I've got a quick question. Like, obviously around the meta of the guns and everything. T4 itself, like, is that something that you've enjoyed this season, or is it something that you've just kind of had to live with as part of the team? Like, what's your opinion on the mode? Like, after playing it and reaching a third place position?
To be honest, T4 is my favorite game mode in BF5. Maybe it's because that this season ESB was in general prepared very well. The studio, the whole group stages and the qualifiers. But the same, that's this game mode. I don't know even how to explain that. In T5s, at the beginning, T5s were cool for me, but then we are playing like 10 seasons of that in every league. So it's too much. T12s are fun, but it's not really competitive to be honest. You know, in FPS games, T4, T5s, and that kind of game modes are the first one to pick. You need to adjust more tactics in T4, that's for sure. That's something what I like. You need to think during the game what to do, where to rotate, where to sit on defense, and how to attack when you're trying to plant the objectives. That's something what I like, and there is more that kind of things in T4 than in T5 and other modes. That's why I like it, and we are playing quite a lot of games. It was 14 games in the group stage before qualifiers, playoffs. So we are playing a lot of it, and I still want to play more. So I hope that someone will create another league of T4, and I'm gonna play that because that's my favorite mode. I like it.
It's awesome. I think all of us here can agree it's probably been one of the best successes coming out of Battlefield 5 competitive, right?
Yeah.
I even think that it's fun to cast from what I
Yeah.
see when I'm watching you guys streaming. I see that you're feeling it, and I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've probably seen that I've done everything from 32 versus 32 down to 4 versus 4, and I can say that the smaller the player count gets, the better it is. Because literally, it's the worst thing is having to go through a list of 32 players and going, who's doing what and what's happening where and what's this and what's that. When you're on T4, you've literally got 4 players. They've got their class each, and you can also like almost tell that the tactics from the teams as well. So if you knock out the enemy medic, you kind of know that medic's gone. So the other players, if you even get a shot on them, there's no way they can get extra health after that attrition's kicked in. So for Battlefield 5, I think T4 Rush is a really suited game mode for the style of the game because of attrition. I know everyone doesn't agree on attrition and things like that, but when it comes to a game mode like this, it just makes that a little bit more tactical. When it comes to when you're taking down a certain member of the enemy team, then you know what they're running as. So for example, PLG took down Jordy. Jordy's the medic for PLG, so that will enable you now to push in a little bit harder, knowing that not only the close range SMG's gone, but the ability to give his teammates instant heals is also gone for at least 10 to 20 seconds. So it's a different aspect to be looking at Battlefield when you're going into T4. I think. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I do.
That's
Definitely.
why I hope that in the next Battlefield we'll have new game mode only for that competitive game mode with classes like in T4 Rush.
The mode wasn't perfect, of course. Like the maps could
wasn't.
have been a bit better, but I think that was. I think this is the closest. We've discussed this earlier as well. I think this was the closest to an actual competitive mode that we've gotten on BF5, and yeah, I think everyone says this like. Maybe not everyone. Everyone has their own opinion, but like most people that are into competitiveness, can agree that this mode was definitely something like fresh. Like it's not really been done that much before, if ever. I don't know. Yeah, I really like the mode, and yeah, hopefully maybe season 2 of ESB. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, let me jump back a bit earlier with you, Frantic. Of course, we're both in RX. I'm the leader. You're one of the captains. A question I'm gonna ask you is, like, there was many role changes during the season, right? You mentioned like the issues during the season, during the regular season. What changed from start? I can see it as you have a start. We had a halfway point, and then we had the second half of the season towards the playoffs. What was the biggest change from start to the halfway point that made you like go back and finish in third place?
Well, so I don't know where to start because we are switching those classes a lot at the beginning, and it's not like one point when we changed our game style or something. It took time to because at one point we were fifth in the league, somewhere in the middle, and then we jumped to third place again. And I remember when at the beginning Smiley was playing sniper, Ziggy was playing medic, I was playing assault, and I finished with assault, so there was no changes. But in qualifiers you had 3 different supports for every qualifier. And at the beginning of the regular season I was not playing for a few games, unfortunately I couldn't. When I came back, we had already Negative as a sniper, Smiley as support, and Ziggy as a medic. Um, we had to play few more games and scrims to make it work, because we draw against Raid, then we draw against Impulsa. That shouldn't happen. But after some scrims and 2 more league games, we saw that we are getting better in game. We had some ups and downs, and so that was a time for that fierce part after the game against Impulsar. We're speaking about that a lot. We were trying to figure out what to change, and yeah,
How
at
big?
the end.
how big was the chaos match, by the way? Because this was, of course, after we made those few changes, where it was the same setup as it was for the finals. Of course, it was Smiley. I think we switched Smiley to the medic at that point. We switched Ziggy to support. We switched Negative to recon, and of course,
Yeah,
then you
sorry.
to assault. How much was that chaos game, and like how big did that impact the team? Because like there was like you were fifth in the standings at that point, and chances of getting into the finals at that point was like it was slim. We weren't really looking that great, but how much did that impact the draw against chaos, and like not even like losing that much because of Mercury? You guys didn't get a sector, but also didn't get a bomb, but they only got one bomb from the first sector, so it was really close. So yeah, what's your opinion on that?
We thought that the first set at the beginning was good, but yeah, when we switched, like you said, I make mistake before. Of course, Ziggy was playing support and Smiley medic. We are playing just better. Smiley feels medic more, and Ziggy feels support more. Uh, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. It just work out. There is no bigger philosophy behind that. It was a better choice for some reason, and since that's working, it's okay. Uh, and that Mercury, yeah. We thought that we're gonna lose that Mercury, to be honest. But yeah, it was a draw at the end, and that was a good start because then we had few more games that we won. I believe that after the game against Chaos, we had 4 more games to the end, and we won all 4, and we secured that 3rd place. And that draw against Chaos was very important because we didn't want to finish 4th, because we know that then we had to play against PLG, and that could be very, very difficult in semifinals. We knew that finishing 3rd is a chance to play against Chaos, and it was like 50-50 for us. That were our estimations before the game. And like you saw on the stream, it was 50-50 game at the end. But yeah, going back again to the topic. I don't know what to say, to be honest, Lawrence. Yeah, it just worked out at the end.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I was
go
gonna
on,
say like Lawrence is probably the best person to answer that question that he just asked, being the one guy who like watches everything and organizes what's gonna go on, right?
That was main idea of Lawrence, so he should
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
He's our coach
Come
here.
on, Lawrence, step up to the plate, mate.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you put me on the plate here. No, it's. I mean, y'all saw there were issues in the first season. We were fifth in the standings out of 8, halfway through the season, and like we felt like there were some issues with the roles. We switched many times. Like Frantic can say, like every week we probably tried a different role. Like Smiley played all 4 classes in the first half of the season, and once we got it down to like Smiley playing the medic and Ziggy playing the support, which like Frantic said, it fits them more. It actually worked better, and of course Negative, he was a very good recon. Like his aim with the POA was very good. And like yeah, he's smart. Like he played smart, and it just fit the team more, and that's what we could build on. And of course, well, as I also said in the interview, I don't know, actually I said it in the interview, but it wasn't in the video. I said like there was like a loss of spirit in the first half of the season. Like there wasn't really the motivation anymore to push through. And then we had that chaos game, and then like everything was like, oh, but we actually can win it. Like we actually can finish and win all the games, and perhaps even beat Chaos in the finals. But we first had to get to that 3rd place, and of course those matches. Like I've written down like the matches after Chaos. So we had Chaos, we drawed. Then we played Tri Black, we won 2-0. We played Raid Black, of course, one of our main competitors who were above us in that point. We also won 2-0, 2-0. we played best, a very good team. Like, they were amazing when we played them. Like, I remember being in the party at that point, and we were like almost losing to best at that point, and it was like they were just coming up and showing up when it matters most. But we eventually came out on top with a 2-0 victory, and of course our last game against TMP, we didn't draw like we did last time when we actually won again. And those last wins were so important because we couldn't actually afford to lose any matches. Otherwise, we would have finished fourth and we would have faced PLG. And yeah, I mean, there was no... That would have not been the same competition and match that we had against Chaos, because I also said to the team that match versus Chaos was the best match of the whole weekend, just because of like last second plants, last second diffuses, ninja diffuses by Ziggy, for example. It was insane. Yeah.
That's good.
He had very good game back then, yeah,
Yeah.
against Chaos.
Okay,
It was
so
like
just
26-3. Okay, sorry.
26-3. That's all right. Good. It's all good. So moving forward with the team, what is you and Redux expecting to do in the future? Are you looking forward to new tournaments of ESB, or are you going to be branching out? Have you got room to even go up to like T5, T6? What are your initial thoughts on Redux as a whole, and where are you going to be going with it?
So for sure we want to continue as a team. We are already playing in CGL. We gonna start FFG soon. So for sure we gonna continue as Redux. We're gonna see what will happen in BF6, for example. It's hard to tell now, so we are trying not to focus too much about next game yet, because there is some leagues to win still in BF5, and we will see. We will see. We will see.
And your thoughts on your thoughts on crossplay when it comes as well, if it does come to the next Battlefield. Of course, you've got the teams of PlayStation that you already know, but then you've got Xbox, and if there's an ability for it, controller players on PC as well, depending on specs and frame rates, etc., when it comes to competitive, but mainly for now, PlayStation and Xbox. Now, as you probably know, I cast across all three platforms. Same with Mike, but I'm a bit more intertwined with the Xbox guys, so I kind of know the top teams from Xbox, AK, CG, oh my god, on about CSL, CSL, Skyfall. That is pretty much NA teams, and then you've got SRG, which is EU. You've got Skyfall EU. Like these are all top tier teams on Xbox. If we went into crossplay, would you feel a lot? Would you feel like it would be a lot better that the fact you'll be going up against enemy players on Xbox, or do you think you should stick to just your local console? What's your thoughts on that?
Crossplay is something that should happen in BF6. We will have bigger competition. That's for sure. Having Xbox players that are not worse than PlayStation guys is something cool. We'll have more teams to play against, because in BF5 we had 16 teams in ESB. It's not much. For Battlefield now it is much, but in general in competitive FPS games it's not much. So I hope that it's gonna go forward and Battlefield will help us. For example, by giving the exact modes and then giving us opportunity to play against Xbox teams and maybe PC.
And if in the next Battlefield, for example, you got native MNK support, would you think you would take the dive into going? Oh my god, what's just happened to Mike?
Oh,
I don't know what's happening.
My face.
Wait, let me double check.
Mike's just turned into Missing No from Pokemon.
I don't know what's happened there. Sorry. Wait, let me.
Oh, God. No, it's Mike. It's definitely Mike. Anyway, ignoring Mike's mishaps at the moment. If, for example, on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, that we see native MNK support, do you think there'll be teams, for example, like Redux or any other teams in the PlayStation scene that would want to go MNK against PC, or do you think you're more likely to just stick to controller leagues?
I would love to play in leagues like dedicated only for DS5 or DS4 controllers, to be honest. I mean, I know that in Call of Duty, for example, there are leagues with controllers and MNKs, but um, it's creating strange situations when players on controllers are winning against players that are playing on keyboard and mouse because they have aim assist. So if DICE or EA will find a perfect solution for that, uh, that will make people playing on controllers and MNKs equal, then I will agree. But in my opinion, it will not happen. So
No,
I would just stay with controller leagues if possible. Yeah.
What would you say if you had the option to go to a mouse and keyboard just by plugging it into your console and being able to join a PC league? Would you like to do that, or would you think you'd be too much at a disadvantage because PC players have the option of higher frame rates versus the consoles locked, for example, 60 or 120? Do you think that'd be too much of a, almost like a, how can I word it? Almost like a disadvantage over a PC. Do you think we should just stick to controller versus controller, so PlayStation versus Xbox, and maybe PC players that want to play with a controller, and just leave MNK in their own little scene?
I was never playing on MNK, so I don't know if that could work out for me. And it also depends on that how big the community will be, because you know, if we're gonna have 50 teams or 60, we're gonna have many leagues. We won't have we won't have time to play PC ones. So there is many pros and cons also of that. It's hard to answer for me now. If there will be an opportunity, I will think about that. But for now, I would say no. But mainly because I was never playing on mouse, so it would be hard for me. I don't know what about my other teammates.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
something we need to discuss about.
yeah, I mean, you'll have comp players. For example, myself, I play on console. I play on Xbox mainly, but I also have a PC, and I do play Battlefield on PC from time to time using a mouse and keyboard. So, I do go between the two. So, for example, if you had a pretty good PC, would you be interested in joining a PC team, or even finding Redux on PC as well as console, or would you just stick to just what you know best?
I would just stick with console.
Yeah, you don't want to make your aim rusty on console, going over to PC and then coming back. I
know myself when I'm switching the games, even for fun to play. I don't know, Uncharted, for example, that is completely from different type of a game. And when I'm coming back to play Battlefield again, I'm a little rusty. So it would be just a problem for me, to be honest. And also, even when I'm, for example, not playing for 2 or 3 days in Battlefield, I'm rusty and I need to play a few hours of pubs. That's my biggest problem, that I need some time to play good, some warm-ups. And switching to PC, then coming back to console again, is not the best. I think, for me.
Fair enough. Right, Mike, have you got a question to ask old Frantic?
No, I think Frantic's asked all of them. I mean, to be honest, for myself personally, you've probably been the most fun person to watch throughout the tournament. Just like say with the trends and the meta that you set throughout, and watching Redux grow from the playoffs, the struggles that they had. I mean, as a caster, I'd almost kind of written you guys off a little bit from reaching that top 4 position, because you had better teams out there at the time. But obviously, you yourself, like towards the end, like being able to Panzerfaust people and slap people with a non-meta gun at the time was just absolutely insane, and it brought that little bit of spice and something nice to the whole casting experience, you know. And I think a lot of the viewers liked it as well, especially when you went on that massive spree with the carbine. So glad we managed to capture that, especially from casting. It was brilliant. I I think like you guys just performed better than expected. I think the whole of that tournament, and you should obviously be proud of yourselves going through.
Then you had that huge clutch as well at one of the last objectives where Frantic came in and got himself a three-piece collateral, literally 3 enemy members lined up right at the bomb site and just went straight through them with the M2. It was
Yeah.
That was good.
I would
But
want to
think,
show
yeah,
it, but
yeah,
I can't. Unfortunately, I don't have the clip. Unfortunately.
that's good. Put it in post. It's fine. But
Yeah,
no,
that was the biggest clash of the game. Like I said before, you had just that 1 minute left to defuse it, to hold that last sector, because Raid destroyed it. When they destroyed the last objective at clock, it was 3:30.
It was, yeah. So we had like, it was 4:14. I remember this because of course I was in the party. It was like 4:14 left on the clock, something around those, and we destroyed and we finished the game at 3:41. And I remember watching. I was of course it's a delay of like 30 seconds, so I was hearing them and I was watching the clock go down like second by second. And if they wouldn't have defused it, Raid would have won by like 1 or 2 seconds, and it would have been insane, and I wouldn't have liked it. So I'm happy, of course, that Frantic had his insane triple kill. Unfortunately, we didn't catch it at the time, like when it was happening. We catch it after, but we didn't catch the exact moment. But it was just that moment was just so important for that match because, yeah, like I said, if not, we would have lost that game. In the end, of course, they defended that the B bomb as well, so we eventually just won on tickets and not by time. So it's all the more, it's all the better.
Yeah, that was the
awesome.
decisive moment from that game as well. Where literally it was if Frantic didn't get that 3-piece, that bomb would have went. That's what it went down to. It was the fact that Frantic got the 3-piece and it just enabled him to take control. That was just the deciding moment in that game. It was. I'm surprised we haven't actually got the clip, but it was a great play. I really enjoyed that bit. Yeah.
awesome.
Deuce, you gotta step up your game on Twitter, man. no. It's one thing. Last thing I want to say on the socials with ESB, I must say they did a heck of a job, like posting clips constantly. Like it just happened on stream, and like 5 seconds later, it's on Twitter. And I must say, like it's just insane to see that happen. Of course, like you can't have everything. Like the 5-piece on Aras against Chaos, I'm pretty sure that was, and of course this clip. I mean, you can't have everything, but yeah, it's we'll definitely see that back once the games are uploaded on their YouTube. You can find the ESB YouTube, by the way, in the description down below. Be sure to check out their grand finals weekend, which was, of course, RX versus Chaos, RX versus Ray Black, and of course PLG versus Ray Black and Chaos being the grand finals. Yeah, Frantic. Yeah. This is the end of the interview. I thank you very much for joining us. It was very interesting. Again, a little bit longer than expected, but it's the first episode. We still have to work on some things. But I'm glad that you were able to join us. And hopefully, or maybe, we'll see you next time again.
Yeah, thank
See
you
you again,
for inviting me here, for letting me be here with you guys, speaking about the TSB and our team Redux. I hope that you're gonna create more of that podcast because it's fun. It's fun to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you again, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
thank you very much,
No
man.
worries.
See you later. See you later.
See ya.
See you, water, I said. All right. So let's head into the last section of this podcast, and then we can round off because it's actually been going on for insanely long, and I have to edit this as well. Yeah, the last topic really.
Right,
ESB's
let's
next
plan it
event.
out. I've got some raids to do.
All right, so ESB next event. What are your thoughts? Are they gonna do another T4 season, or are they going to go into T5? What is your opinion?
Ooh,
I mean, it's hard to tell with ESB. They keep their cards close to their chest until they have everything planned and prepared. Like, I personally would love another T4 season because of just how successful the mode has been. But with the preparation that goes into even a regular season event without any like major playoffs or anything, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of administration. I'm not too sure with how close we are to a Battlefield reveal, and
Mhm.
I mean, typically for Battlefield 6, I mean, it's usually around the end of the year, end of the summer. There's not a lot of summer left. Like, it's only a
Yep.
few months, and the regular season could take up to what, like three,
Three,
4 months
4
to play
months.
out. So I'm not too sure. I would love another season, but
Maybe a shortened one, just for the
yeah.
fun. Because in my
Mm.
opinion, they're not gonna top this one. That's just, I mean,
Oh, no way.
unless, I mean, you never know, but it will be not smart for them if they did so. This was like the
Yeah.
stable point of BF5 ESB. I don't think they're gonna top it. I think if they do another T4 ESB season, it's more for the fun than it is for competitiveness in that sense. Because
Yeah.
like the feeling, it's not gonna have the same feeling than it did last season because there was much more on the line, and in that sense, yeah, I think they're not gonna do it. Maybe they're gonna do like a shortened one for fun, to have something running in between. But I also see them like just waiting and maybe even waiting for for BF6 because, like you said, it's only 5 more months pretty much until
Yeah.
that's launching. We have the reveal next month. Yeah. Like
I think the smart move to do here would be to wait for a bit, just because as soon as that next Battlefield trailer hits, the hype's just going to shoot through the roof. And not only that, I kind of know what it's going to be. Just putting out there, I kind of got an inkling.
insider
but if we-
information.
Stuff like that. If we go into the Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 days, we are not only going to be seeing hype go through the roof, we're going to actually see old comp teams start to return as well, and they're going to be actively searching for active leagues, for example. So if ESP just holds out for a little bit, even if they do T4 or they do T5, T6, whatever they decide to do next, and they wait until they board the hype train with the rest of the Battlefield community, I believe it'll be a very good ending to Battlefield 5's lifespan when going to the next Battlefield, and hopefully we'll go while we get private servers and all that good stuff. ESP will be in a very good place for the next Battlefield, and that doesn't apply to just ESP. That applies to all other leagues as well. CGL, Battlefield Nations, etc., etc. It is a moment of timing where you need to take probably a step back, wait for the hype to build, and then when are people looking to watch streamers, watch and try and find if there's competitive out there, that'll be the time to hit the ground running with the tournament.
Yep.
Again, basically. What ESP's done this time though is they've actually timed it pretty damn well. The finals was approaching on when the trailer should have been on its way out, but obviously the hype train already was up in the sky at that point, so that's how ESB really good timing with it, and that definitely helped with the overall.
Those numbers, by the way.
Players. Yeah.
Those numbers. Can we talk about that briefly? What was the average of the finals? I think I saw it peaking at 400. Like, what?
It was ridiculous, honestly. It's something that we saw back in mid Battlefield 4 as the scene was kind of like just dying out, and it was leagues like ESB and BFN that were just carrying the scene after ESL dipped. It's very rare that we'll get numbers like that. I think a good cast for myself is 50 to 60 people. I mean that's a good cast, right?
Yeah.
To get over 100 on a non-playoff game, like it has to be like the top two teams that are playing.
PLG, Chaos.
I find a lot of like the South American and the French teams get a lot more viewership, but to get to the numbers that we did on the actual playoffs was unreal, and it just made the whole experience worth it in the end. The fact that we got that many people to see it.
Yeah, I remember talking to Frantic actually in the finals. Like we were still hanging out in the party after we finished, like Redux finished the game. I say we. I wasn't actually playing again, but like we were just hanging out. Say again?
I said he was hiding in the bush the whole time.
Yeah, I was hiding in the bushes. I didn't have a ghillie suit though, but yeah, I was hiding in the bushes. No, but like I mean, we were watching the game and our game was like 160 to 200 viewers, right? And then once the grand finals were starting, we saw it like steadily going up. We saw it 240, 260, 270, 280, and then we suddenly saw 300, and then 310, 330, 350. We even we went to like 389 at one point. I think maybe even higher. I don't know. Like I don't know the exact highest number, but like Frantic was even saying like, God damn, like how like this is so many viewers. Like you say, Mike, like an average cast. Like a finals, for example, I'm using my league, of course, for as an example. CGL finals in March, April. Actually, not sure when it was. We had 100, 90 to 100 was our average, and that's a good stream, like you say. Like that's pretty much when you have that happen, it's like, oh yeah, that was a good stream. But this was just amazing. Like this literally blew what was expected out of the waters. I don't think ESB even thought like this was possible. I think they're, in my opinion, they were expecting like maybe 200. But this, yeah, I don't think it was just it was just insane.
Yeah, I mean it's at the pinnacle of the hype train as well, because for example, at the end of my PC league, I was only expecting probably about 50 to 60 viewers in the grand finals, but
that's like
ended up topping around 180 something in the end, and that included even comp players from the good old Battlefield 4 days, for example, Enders from Omni, and a bunch of his like compatriots like EXO. You had Baron Ox in there. You had quite a few of the different mix and match, and not only because it was just solely PC, it was because it was NA versus EU as well. So we had a pretty good. The fact that we had an NA team again involved in the Battlefield scene after so long is definitely a good thing as well. And I think for BFN now that's coming up to their group for PC, again, there's not just one NA team involved, there's going to be two.
Yeah,
so
maybe more,
as we're building up to the next Battlefield, ESB can literally ride this PC scene as well and get even more teams involved from the NA scene. And not only that, it'll just skyrocket. The NA teams in Battlefield, the ones that are dormant anyway, were probably one of the best teams out there from the Battlefield 4 days. For example, you had Omni, you've got other teams as well. What's another one? I can't think now.
I was just about to say, like, PC was given the same opportunity as Xbox and PS4 across both regions to participate in the T4 rush, right? But none of them wanted to do it, which really shocked me when I found out, because I was like, are we going to be doing PC? I see we got 2 divisions here on Xbox, we've got 2 divisions on PlayStation 4, we've got like some South Americans there as well. Like, everyone on the console side of things was on board to do something different and fresh. And PC were like, no, we'll stick to T5, T8, Squad Conquest. We don't want none of this T4 nonsense.
Yeah.
And
I feel like... Oh, sorry.
It's really strange to me, because PC, you would think that they were the dominant competitors back in ESL, right? Back when it was a televised competitive back in Battlefield 2, right? Way back when. And they're letting it go into the way of the console, which, if I'm honest, if PC don't buck up their ideas and jump in on events like this, it's going to be a console-driven esport, right? At the end of the day, because how many active teams are there? Just in like, I think Fight for Glory's numbers last time, there was 300 plus matches in a season with over 120 teams competing. You would struggle to get 20 active teams on PC across both regions, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, the maximum I could pull was 12 teams last season anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to increase again following into my season 3, because not only that, by doing what I've done has increased numbers of PC players joining teams, and not only dormant teams are coming up and uprising. For example, my season 1, there was no NA teams. There was literally just, for example, DOEU, TWP, there was Retired back then, which was President Slendy's own team. There was other teams out there like United and teams like those as well. But then season 2, we saw teams like OFC, we saw teams like NNA, which were the champions of season 2, the NA team, NNA, which had players from VII, Omni, and other players that have never played comp before. So the more we increase the amount of games that we do and help the community find their way into comp, is going to increase the standing when it goes into the next Battlefield. Because not only that, we've already started building community for comp, for example, PC again, and consoles, for example. Because console has, let's be honest, it's died off since the end of ESB. Like, a load of teams have gone back into a hiding state, but they will come back out again. But
Yeah.
The more we do, even if we're like doing these podcasts, for example, we're not only increasing, the discoverability of comp gameplay in Battlefield, we're also still keeping people active. People want to watch this and say, look, oh, okay, there is comp in Battlefield. We've seen these guys talking about, this latest ESB League for T4. I might want to have a look into this. Whoever just stumbles across this video randomly, and that's what's going to be key when we're going into the next Battlefield as well. It's not only that; it's the active streams going through, the active cast that we're going to be doing for different games, PC or console. And I mean, I couldn't preach it more, any more than I have done. That just staying active, even when the game is dying out, because the next game's coming out, is going to be key to keeping the ball rolling.
I 100% agree with you. That activity is the only way that we can bring new people into the scene and reignite old teams.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like after, as you said, like after BF4, like most of the PC teams, they went into like other games, like they went into Rainbow Six, they went into Call of Duty, CS:GO, games that actually had a competitive mode because they didn't like BF1. I remember talking to Slendy, I think it was Slendy on this. Like they didn't like the game, so they like moved off. And at that point, we had BFN coming in, and well, they had like so many new players, for me including, coming in by just reaching out to me like on my PSN messages, and I joined the Discord, and that was like my start in BF Comp. And since then, it's actually been, I would say it's console driven, because in BF1 I don't remember a lot of teams or PC teams. I remember, like, of course, the Slendy teams, the Hubsucks team. Like, I don't know the names. I'm not really involved in the PC side of things, but I know those players because like they're bigger players, and they haven't, like, there's not that many. And in BF5 it's even gotten worse. Of course, with the effort of Lycan, with creating his own PC league to try and get that active again, with the Dog guys with their own league, like, or BSP, right? Lycan, that's the league.
Yeah, BSP.
Yeah,
my
BSP.
league and BSP were founded pretty much at the same time, and
Yeah.
we were bouncing between each other because I cast for also BSP. So we were bouncing our rules between each other and what the community wanted on PC. So
Yeah.
not only that, you'll probably find that our rule sets are pretty much identical, that the values of what we do are pretty much the same, because it allows me to take a break and step away from the scene for 5 minutes, and then it will allow BSP to then run something, and then I can take over again. And it's a good thing to do. And then when we go into the next Battlefield, then we can step it up a bit further. And, like, for example, hopefully we will see ESB step up with the PC guys yet again, and we'll see ESL maybe return. We'll see other, BFN kick off again with national games and clan games. That's all I'm hoping for at this point. I'm hoping Battlefield comes back in a very strong manner in the next Battlefield. It needs it, and not only just for the console players, they've been carrying it this whole entire time for Battlefield 5, but it's to also extend our little fingers out to the PC lads as well, because they are out there and they are actively looking to play games. It's just finding them in their little dark corners.
All right. That's a last question for you guys. What are you looking forward to in the trailer? That's coming out like soon.
I mean, personally, we know it's going to be modern, right? That they outright said it's going to be a modern setting. I'm hoping something that looks as good as Battlefield 4 looked when I first laid my eyes on it, but with more of that Bad Company 2 kind of feel. Like, a lot of the weapons in Bad Company 2 had that kind of modern twist to them for a lot of it. I just want it to be taken a bit more. I just want them to take it a bit more seriously. I want to see I personally want to see a good story. I think Battlefield 4 story was awesome. Battlefield 5 story, at least some of the campaigns were really good.
The tank one was my favorite.
Exactly, like DICE can do
Pigeon.
that big storytelling. Yeah, dude.
And the
Pigeon was the
story,
best moment.
Yeah.
Pigeon was the
Not only
best
that,
moment.
I think Battlefield 3's campaign was probably the best one they ever done out of the newer Battlefields. And saying that Hardline was a hidden gem because not only did it play out like a TV series, if you remember, if you used to quit the game, it would then say next
Sign you
time
off.
on Hardline, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then when you'd rejoin, it would do like a last time. So yeah, I believe Hardline was one of those hidden gems in the whole Battlefield scene. For campaign anyway. For gameplay, I mean, it had probably one of the best gunplays out there, but it just wasn't Battlefield. Technically, it was cops and robbers in the end. Battlefield's all about a war zone, right? Am I right here?
Yeah, but I mean, outside of like story and what the look and feel of it, it could be kind of set anywhere really. Vietnam, which is something a lot of people are looking forward to. World War II, World War One. I just want there to be a good comp mode. I want there to be the tools for us at the beginning to be able to host those things straight away. It's what ruined like Battlefield 5 start. At the end of it, we had this incursions mode, which was a half-assed attempt, basically competitive. You know the hearts weren't in it, and it kind of like threw a lot of leagues off. They came off of this hype of incursions, and then Battlefield 5 took what 3-4 months to get something so teams could then play together, and the communities could play together. I want a spectator that isn't a buggy mess a lot of the time. Like, I mean, I'm sick and tired of that reload bug. How long did it take to fix a spectator cam?
It's gonna be 5 more months.
You know, and I just want, for me, the Battlefield is always going to be Battlefield. It's always going to be a AAA game, right? It's always going to be that competitor to COD. I just want DICE to take more notice and more support given to our little section of Battlefield. And that's it really. Just be a little bit more involved. Get in touch with these like leagues like ESB who put so much production value in, and can be a huge revenue stream to the point where you see Activision have actually taken over the whole Call of Duty event and now making millions off of it and cater to an audience that streams to 80,000 people
or more.
It's mental, right? It's absolutely mental.
There's a market out there competitive,
yeah.
I think DICE dropped the ball when they didn't need to drop the ball. Incursions was great. I don't know what went through their heads for them to just stop the support on Incursions and take it to Battlefield 5. I think what they did is they cut it short so they can go into Battlefield 5 to make it again for the new game. But unfortunately, going into Battlefield 5, they didn't realize what they did to the game and that the community didn't overall like it. So, unfortunately, hopefully, they still have the want for competition-based games, and they go for another 5v5. So
I think that's a big question. Are they interested in doing another competitive side?
We don't know with DICE, do we?
We don't know.
Like,
I think
they're always cryptic.
Yeah, I do hope so.
But this is a discussion we can do another time. Like, definitely another podcast discussion. It's already on the list, actually, of doing. Like, there's not much else. Thanks, Wild. Thanks, Mike, for joining us for this. I would say 3 hours now, almost. It's been
long enough.
It's been long enough to make an end to this. We scheduled, by the way, for those, I'm just going to say, we scheduled for an hour and a half. Yeah.
Hours.
I mean, it's the first. It was an awesome podcast. I liked it. It's the first one. We have to work on the timings, of course. I mean, we have to work on a lot of things like the graphics, etc. All the graphics I just made temporarily. There's new ones being made. We have a logo coming up. So eventually, it's going to be higher production. Of course, this is also my first time actually recording something like on OBS. So there might be a couple mistakes. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been a pleasure. It really has. It's been awesome to actually speak about a lot of this stuff. and for people to probably hear some like opinions on things that maybe they wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah.
Considering I'm a hermit when it comes to like voicing opinions on social media.
I mean, I'm the same. Like, there's so many. That's why I actually wanted to do the podcast. I was thinking. So this is something I had from CDL side, of course. Where if you may know Zuma, the flank. He's hosting the flank, and that was kind of my idea. I was watching the flank, and I was like, maybe it could be something interesting for Battlefield because we're actually not like this is an open market. Like no one else is doing it. And, like it shows like an extra side of a person, more information, and just like a discussion platform for others. And eventually we're going to do live streams so we can include the community. But right now, of course, this is pre-recorded, and we're going to try our best to get live streams as soon as possible, just so we can get like the involvement of the teams and maybe even random appearances like it happens on the flank. So that's really my base that I'm going off. Yeah, still a lot to learn. Again, thank you very much, Mike, for joining us. Maybe we'll have you again on the future podcast. I think it might be interesting for you.
I'd love to.
Okay, we'll get to work on what podcast is coming up next. We're going to try and look at doing these like every 2-3 weeks, depending on what the schedule allows us. Of course, we're not aiming at 3-hour podcasts or like maybe after editing it's like 2.5 hours, 2 hours. I don't know, but yeah. Our main goal, like we discussed in the beginning, was 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's around that time. Yeah, is what we're aiming for. So we're gonna try. I think like maybe our podcasts aren't that bad either, depending on what allows us. But yeah, I'm gonna cut it off here. Otherwise, we're gonna keep rambling, of course. Lycan, thank you for joining as well. As some of you may know, like Lycan is going to be my main co-host. Mike was just a guest because we were talking about the ESB League and he was heavily involved. So you'll see me and Lycan, you'll see next time on the podcast, and maybe even Mike or another guest. We'll see. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next time on the battlefield.